about Yefidikesi. So Pinaxtv. We all know the issue at so war Iran. I'm talking about the US Israel Iran war. Now the whole world, everyone is really watching, and we are seeing how events are unfolding day by day and second by second, hour by hour, and it is getting really scary to the extent say Ghana for binum kra or UAE, United Arab Emirates. I'm talking about Kuwait, Qatar, Dubai, any Beirut, any other countries Arab, no, you could see that they are even getting hit by some of the missiles Iranian for say the conflict it is actually evolving and escalating to the other Middle Eastern countries. But then say there is a significant development is here. It's here for in some the US is also taking very keen interest at what is really happening in our beloved country Ghana. Now, their videos a bit more share, but some of us really anticipate that this particular thing will happen. Yes, we really anticipate it. We really saw say BBC ebeba. Now, it's here for we need the US for security services and in Yama we are seeing especially how they do counter-terrorism. Obi say you free be AFRICOM. Now, AFRICOM basically the US African Command, and on my nitia and try nitia wa US AFRICOM. Basically, AFRICOM. Now, me no can say it's true for any a soldier from penny for ababe piemu. Ghana has say, and the first person that they met is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Now, mind you, there is a video I share for you to know why they came and why His Excellency John Dramani Mahama even met them in the first place. If you watch what is on the screens, or see, yesterday, General Dagvin Anderson sat down with Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama for a candid conversation on partnership and shared security interests. No theatrics, just two leaders on the idea to make the entire region secure. So the pictures are also on the screens now. Say what is really going on now. We are learning say General Dagvin one of US for more penny for military commanders or buyer and obishia His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Na mani any saying on John Dramani Mahama kasa on how at the end of the day they can make Ghana powerful in the region. I'm talking about making Ghana so powerful like Israel. Why? Because across all Ghana's borders, what we are seeing is that there's terrorism. Now we are northern border. We saw what really happened there. Now we are southern border. We saw say a year Togo for marina they are harassing our military soldiers saying say in soon what Ghana for you're now phoning in so we could see say these people who are supposed to be our neighbors they are now our adversaries, which show me say so they saw say no, America needs to protect the country Ghana amidst all of these conflicts and escalation across we are so thereby I was say equip a crony. So that is how you are seeing say mobile His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Into Ocean, you see no theatrics, just two leaders, just His Excellency, that's His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and General Dagvin Anderson. And I'll say these two leaders have aligned on an idea to make the entire region more secure. The entire region was more secure. Now, I told you, sir, there is a video involved because there are a lot of things that are also at the point in time, they even went further to the US Embassy to have a sit down with various people in high office right here in this particular country, and that is exactly what we are about to see on the screen as a video. They spoke about a lot of things. I know so most of you have your reservations about the United States, its army, and the but the main aim as they want to fight terrorism. They want to equip Ghana with all the ballistic missiles, all the intelligence, all the machines, all the warfare. Secure our border because terrorism Ghana and our border, our northern parts, in social, I'll say this is coming from the US Embassy. Also, General Dagvin Anderson, commander of US AFRICOM, spoke with Joy News Blazer Suga during his recent visit to Ghana. Anderson discussed how US African Command stands ready to support African countries facing growing security challenges and stressed the critical role of the United States of America. African partnerships in countering these threats. So now, they are telling us why Sisiano, in some way, at the end of the day, the US Command Center, that's the US African Command Center, or maybe PM Ghana. I say, and they want to use here as one of the intelligence places on fight terrorism, not just in this country, but also across the sub-region. There is a video involved. Here's a quick one. About that
as we watch that. One of the things that we do at AFRICOM and within the U.S. military is we look at these terrorist threats globally. So we understand how these networks evolve and move. And what we have seen is what you just described is that a large portion of that network has migrated into the Sahel. They found refuge there in ungoverned space, and they have taken advantage of that. And we see that with the disruptions in the local area, the mass migration, the refugees that are created from that. Unfortunately, that then creates violence that spills over. My heart goes out to the Ghanaians that just, some businessmen, some folks that were up there just doing trade in Burkina Faso were killed by violent extremists. They're just doing their daily job. And so this is the terrible price that instability brings. And unfortunately, it affects all members of the region, not just in those isolated areas. So we are very concerned about that. And that's a large portion of the reason why I've been traveling to many countries around the region, is to look where we can partner, because no one nation can take this threat on alone. And so where can we partner? What are the things that the United States can bring that we have the unique capabilities to bring forward? And how do we work with our partners to address this threat?
And that unfortunate incident has been an awakening moment for many actors in coastal West Africa who often feel that this is a remote threat. Because when these things happen, we're just hearing of the news in the Sahel and all of that. You have an overview. What's your assessment of how remote or otherwise these threats are from coastal West Africa?
So I think it's hard to quantify what that is, but the threat is real today. I mean, even if you just look at the indirect impacts of how does this affect migration, the refugees, but how does it affect the economy? How does it affect the production of food? So food prices go up because of instability in a region where they can no longer grow food. It creates crises. And so these indirect effects then have ripple effects into the greater community. So I'm sure people across the region feel these secondary effects. But then the danger is that as these threats continue to metastasize and take hold, they will migrate further. These terrorists don't know boundaries. They don't know borders. So we haven't seen them willfully stop at any one location. So I think the threat is eventually they'll continue to move. Now, I can't tell you where they'll move or how fast they'll move, but our experience has been they will continue to seek refuge and seek to disrupt. And so I think that's the concern for everyone. And even if they don't come directly into a country or an area and attack directly, the impacts are clear. I think just increase in food price is a great example of those impacts that that people feel every day in their lives.
Have we been able to effectively tease out what their motive is, or perhaps what they want? That's been a difficulty for many.
So there's what they publicly espouse. And I don't think that what they espouse publicly always comports to how they act. And what it seems to me that they want to do is they want to disrupt any kind of local governance or functioning local institutions that then allow them to exploit the population and exploit the resources that are there. And that, to me, is what they have continued to do throughout the Sahel. I don't think they are constructive in any manner. I don't see the things or the institutions that they have built. They seem to just tear things down and then extract for their own benefit. And so that, to me, I think is the greater concern that we see, is the destruction of local communities and governances across the region.
And I was asking that question because of the unfortunate incident involving Ghanaians. These are just traders, not government officials.
Right.
And the indication we get is that they used to allow them, safe passage. It's no longer the case. So it's becoming a challenge, really identifying what the motive is.
Yeah, I think I would be concerned, and I would not trust safe passage from a terrorist organization, because just like you said, it can turn at their whim. And innocent people just doing their daily business can become victims. And so, like you said, it wasn't just a government official. It wasn't the military. These were people carrying out their everyday lives. And so I think that's the concern as well, is the fact that these terrorists are willing to take lives without remorse, and that they can affect everyday people in such a I mean, that's incredibly disruptive, and I mean, it's horrible. And to be able to do that without any real offer on the other side, what is it they actually bring?
Yeah.
And that's the concern that we have with this, and we have for several years, as we've seen. We've suffered these attacks in the United States, and it took that attack in New York to wake us up.
Yeah.
But since then, we have been working to address this threat in many different locations around the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the AFRICOM boss, Mr. Anderson, and Odin Tuja. The head and tail is that U.S. fast tracking, we say terrorism, no. Nigeria, Niger, Burkina Faso, it is coming to Ghana, our doorsteps, 18 years. And then since Ghana, we don't have the necessary prerequisite materials. So the thing is, let us come and attack the problem head on. So they came to Ghana. Now, in the last part, so you heard what he said. Or see, the United States also was once upon a time facing terrorism. As some are now all canon, he specifically mentioned New York. Remember the 9/11 attack. Okay, 2001 9/11 attack, September 11th attack. A year plane, echo board the Twin Towers. Over 3,000 or 5,000 people died. And no nama US for many the war in Iran, the genesis if you will. Now, far from all of these things are echo no party say see Ghana no or more back any soldiers for no ababedi tenase a train you more the necessary tools. I can't deal with him. They are fighting terrorism. And then General Anderson made mention of Burkina Faso. And not sure say US for now you kun Ghana for Burkina Faso terrorists for Ghana for Burkina Faso. The US was alarmed. Into can say our condolences to the families, which means US for who say no. You're a you're top. You're not inside or cry. Northern region upper east near there. The untimi enko. Because some more can hear the point or say that this terrorist organization or you say they know no boundaries. Omunim boundary, which means omunim maybe on base or more. It's even one much Ghana for your North Africa. The US is saying say they wouldn't let that happen. Now, there is a price to pay for everything, but we don't know the price Ghana for we pay for this. We don't know why the US all of a sudden wants to help us. It may be for a good cause, which we like it, but then it may also be said they also stand to gain something. Is it because Russia is gaining foothold in parts of Africa, West Africa, Burkina Faso, near the intermediate? Let's make Ghana a safe haven. Not in Ghana, no. We also have a foothold there. These are big questions that here for we all live to see what will happen in the near future. But before I met to ask, my man before we have me a new way shout out. If you Abdullah Idris, I say good morning to you, or I'm watching you live from Saudi Arabia. Abdullah, yes, bombi so mami update. If I now say, also Saudi Arabia. So what's really happening? And away if Prince Kobe, 1971. I'll say great updates, bro. Thanks very much, Prince Kobe. So we'll be moving on to a rather sad news at LFE, the camp of His Excellency John Dramani